It has been so long since I have come on here. I've also been planning to make this video for probably a month now. I wasn't really sure, since being gone for so long and having my baby, I wasn't really sure how I wanted to come back because I knew I would take quite a break. And I thought I should just sit down and have a little catch up. I decided to get out the podcast equipment. So I have a couple dot points of things that I want to cover, just so I'm just not like rambling. Okay, I will quickly give a little birth recap. Again, we told the birth story on our Jess and Gabriel channel. So if you want to hear it over there, you can, and it has Gabe's commentary. It's a bit more silly. If you watched a few videos ago where I gave an update, I was talking about how he was not head down, he was transverse in my belly, and basically the ideal position, like the position that they will allow me to birth in, is head down. So I spent weeks trying to get him head down and I was successful. So that's what that video was. And then basically the weeks following that video, he just kept flipping. So I don't know if he just had a lot of room, but both of my babies now were breech babies pretty late, which is very rare. I'm trying to remember the correct order of events, but I'm pretty sure I went to an appointment with my mum and she was like super excited to come, and we thought that they would check and see if I was dilated, and they checked his position and he was breech. And this was, I believe, at 38 weeks. They wanted to schedule me for an ECV, which is where they manually turn the baby. So I had a couple days to try to get him back head down so I don't need to do that procedure. We went to the hospital. The ECV was scheduled for Sunday. So I did everything I could from Friday, Saturday to Sunday. We went to the hospital on Sunday and they, for some reason, just didn't have room for us. It was super delayed and they were like, "Can you come back on Tuesday?" And I was like, "Yes, just in case he's not head down, it'll give me a couple more days to encourage him to go head down if he can." We come back on Tuesday very early in the morning and we get checked and he was head down. So that was the second time at the hospital. And then they sent me home because he was head down, perfect. And they were like, basically, you can just prep and get ready for labor now. My next midwife appointment, they checked me. He was still head down and he was engaged in my pelvis. And she checked me and she said I was between 2 to 3 centimeters dilated. It was just very exciting. So I was creeping closer and closer to my due date and something just like didn't sit right with me. And I just like had this feeling that he had moved. Anyway, I called my midwives and I was like, "Do you mind if I just come in for a few minutes so we can check his position? Because something just doesn't feel right." And I can't tell, like when I'm touching my belly, I can't tell what position he's in. So I go in, this is 2 days before my due date. I go in with Gabriel and she checks me and he was back breech. So they brought in the guy that performs the ECV and they were like, "We need to schedule you for an ECV as soon as possible because your due date is in 2 days." And if I had gone into labor naturally, like if my water broke or I started having contractions or something and he was still breech, I would have had to have an emergency C-section. Basically, they scheduled me for the ECV that night. They were basically like, "Go home, get your bags, and come back to the hospital for the ECV. We want to induce you straight after just so there's no chance of him flipping back." It was just all a bit shocking just because it had just like been such a roller coaster of different news and different like possibilities. We went home, got our bags and went and had an ECV, and I got the epidural for it this time, which I was very, very nervous for, and then they induced me straight after. So I kept the epidural for the induction, like for labor and delivery, and it was so smooth. The ECV was successful. I could still feel the pain, like it was definitely still uncomfortable with the epidural, but so much less than when I had it in Australia. Labor and delivery was great. I was so hungry. It had been about 24 hours since I had had any food. Because you need to fast for the ECV, I think, in case it's an emergency C-section. But anyway, I was so hungry and they brought me some chicken broth during labor and I just thought it was like the best tasting thing ever. That really like kind of gave me some energy. It was crazy. I really didn't feel any contractions. Gabe and I napped for a few hours in the beginning, and then it was only like kind of right before I started pushing, I started feeling stuff that was like hurting. Anyway, and then even the pushing was super great and easy. I pushed him out in, I think I did 1 practice and then 2 contractions and then he was out. It was super quick, and the midwife that I had was incredible, and she like told me when to, I guess, go really slow. And I think she was, only to ask Gabe, but I'm pretty sure she was like putting lotion or something around the area to try to prevent tearing. And then he was born and super healthy and safe. And yeah, it was just such an incredible experience. Next, I want to give a quick postpartum recap. Being almost 7 weeks into it, I just had my 6-week checkup today, actually. This postpartum, I would say, was harder than my first. It was extremely emotional. And I had a friend tell me that their sister like really struggled for her second postpartum emotionally. She said it was like her most emotional one. I cried every single day for I think the first week, and then it started to ease a little bit. I felt a little bit better. In saying that though, physically this postpartum, was easier. With Micaiah, I had an episiotomy. So they like cut me open to try to get her out. And this time I had a 2nd degree tear. She said it could have been classed almost as a 1st degree. So it was way easier than my episiotomy. That was definitely a blessing that the healing was easier, because even though it was easier, having a toddler still made the healing like really hard. And breastfeeding also has been easier this time, which has been amazing. I would say probably the first week was the hardest, but he has been latching really good. My supply has been good, so it's definitely been easier this time too. And I don't know if that's because I remember what it was like the first time. I guess I can go into my 6 or 7 week recap now, because it's kind of like all blending together. But my mum was here for the first 3 weeks after he was born, and then Gabe's mum came for the next 2 weeks. So we literally dropped my mum off at the airport, and she walked in to departures, and then Gabe's mum walked out of that same door like a minute later. Yeah, having both of them here was just so helpful. So I was sad for both of them to leave. This is our 2nd week of just me and Gabe, like no mum here to help us. It's been mostly fine, but definitely not easy. We're still in that stage where there's not really a routine, and I would love if you guys have any advice. If you have 2 or more kids, when was the point where you could kind of have a routine, or when it felt a little bit more smooth? Because with Micaiah, I remember around the 6-week mark, it felt more smooth, and we could kind of like go about our day and go out feeling a bit more confident, and sleep was getting better. But I think this time having 2, it's just completely different. It has been a huge blessing, and I don't know, just seeing like our 2 kids together has been so sweet. My daughter, Micaiah, just like how sweet she is with him, wanting to push him in the stroller. I'm so excited to see how they grow up together. It's definitely been hard getting back into like work and filming and stuff. I will say a huge shout out to Gabe. He has been incredible. Now having 2, we are obviously like tag teaming, like one of us has a baby each. He has stepped up even more in his role as a dad. I'm extremely grateful that both Gabe and I work from home, and we've just been able to take this time off. Something I will say, especially more in the beginning, it's still happening now, is that Gabe will be with Micaiah a lot. It has been really sweet watching their bond grow, and that was some like advice that was given to me. Was not really advice, I guess, just like a comment from some family. It might be hard not being able to be with your eldest as much as before because you're with the baby, but just watch how special it is to watch their bond grow. Anyway, I think that's my update. It has been really, really special. We try to get out every single day if we can, and just like all get out as a family. I do feel like we're at a point where it's easy for us to get out as a family of 4. But yeah, I plan to be back with some vlogs very, very soon. I just wanted to come back with this like little catch up. I'm trying to think. I don't think I missed anything. Anyway, thank you for all of the support and the messages on Instagram, checking in. It's very cool that so many of us are in a similar season of life. So I'm really grateful for that. If you are also in like newborn newness and not really sleeping, just know you are not alone. We are right there with you. It doesn't last forever. My mum keeps reminding me of that. Like whenever I have a bit of a rough night, she's like, just know it gets better. This isn't going to last for long. It's really encouraging, because if you kind of do have a harder day, or you're just like really exhausted, oh my gosh, where is this coming from? Just know it's not going to last forever. And I know for me anyway, I'm going to look back on these days, like look at the pictures and the videos and the memories of it. I'm going to want to go back to this exact moment and like give my kids a cuddle, like at this size, them being this small. Oh my gosh, so sorry if there's anyone else postpartum that is emotional watching this. It's such a special season. Yeah, I'll be back very soon with some vlogs. I'm very excited for this cozy time of year, for going to the pumpkin patch and the apple orchard and Thanksgiving and getting a Christmas tree. This is just such a sweet time of year. So, and now we have 2 little ones to do it all with. And then you just get to experience all of this through your kids' eyes, which is my favorite part. Love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. This was really nice. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I'll see you very soon. Bye.